Hello to myself and everybody else. This is video 75. So far, I'm still looking at C++, and I just got done looking at another chapter in those videos. This one was really long, had to do with like a lot of like data on operations and everything. So basically a lot of stuff having to do with math and like manipulating maybe like the output of stuff and everything, like a lot of stuff. So for this, I'm just gonna go over a few things I found like pretty important, so I can just make sure I remember those. And so far with this on the screen right now, like one of the things we looked at was setw, which basically allows you to control like the formatting of output, which basically like with this one we have like something from the video. So we have like different headers like last name, first name, age, and then just some example names and everything. And basically the setw, this allows you to just control like the formatting of that. So I can just go ahead and show that. So this just formats each one to line up and everything and have like certain space between them. So far to use the setw, you got to also use the include IO manip. So just a thing to remember for that and everything as well. Another thing that was shown is you can control like the formatting of this a bit more. So you can use like couts and then right, which basically this by default is already aligned to the right like the way it is now. So if I just run it, it just kind of looks the same. But if I put it left and then run it, it organizes everything to the left. So just a way to like set the width of the words, which can just be really useful for formatting. And then another thing it showed as well was setfill, which basically allows you to just control like what's in, like control what the empty space looks like between every word. So if I just run this, you just have like dashes between each one. Again, something that can also be useful for formatting, or if you're working with like a bunch of like charts and graphs or like a bunch of numbers and information. So far I have no idea how to prevent it from showing up here at the end. Like that might just be like a trick you have to do with something, but really just for now, just getting it to look like this, I think you can do. So I also just set it to the right so we can just see what that looks like. Yeah, so basically same thing, stuff with that as well. So far, even without the left and right thing, you still just use it as well. Just run it, same thing. By default to the right. And so far, that's really it with like the setfill, setw, and manipulating the left and right thing. So far, the other thing to look at is this right here, setprecision, which basically controls how many numbers will be shown in like a long string of numbers. So like right here, we have like the numbers for pi and everything set. And another thing is that you still have to have this included as well, the include, IO, manip, and everything. But yeah, basically the whole thing with this from the video just showed that you set this and you can basically control how many numbers will appear. So I was going to run it real quick. Yeah, so the whole thing is this. So the default and everything is 6. So it'll only show like up to 6 numbers here. And with here, you can do precision 10. So it'll show 10 numbers, 20, 50. So it shows the whole thing. The only main thing that I got from this is that one, just how to show a set amount of numbers, as well as two, with the number and everything here, since it's a double, because of decimal and everything, so far it says the double limit is 15. So basically, once we get down here to 20, it will just basically start showing a bunch of random numbers at a set point. So I basically have to kind of look and see which numbers it is. I'll be right back for that. Okay, so far I found it. So far these numbers right here, once we get to 20, they just kind of become random. So basically after 793, same thing right here, 793, it has 116. But after this one, it's 2384. So it just puts in a random string of numbers. Even with the precision 50, after 793, it continues with this series of like random numbers and everything up here. With these bunch of random numbers and stuff that do not match the ones up here at all. Just a bunch of random numbers. And another thing to take note of too is that even if it's within range, so it's like 15 or under, it just rounds the last number no matter what. Well, that's actually not 100% true. It will round basically with the default. It keeps the exact same numbers. So 3.14159 keeps it the same up here. But when we set the precision to 10, it rounds this last number. So up here it's 6535, but here it's just 654. It just rounds to the, well, it just rounds the number. So that's another thing just to keep track of if you're ever messing around with this. And so far the last thing here is basically just showing like the thing of showpoint, which basically this, it just like increases the amount of like zeros shown after a double. So basically, again, it won't just like end right after the last number. It will just keep continuing on for a set amount of numbers. With this one, you don't need to have that include we've been using in the other one. You can just use this flat out. So if we run it, yeah, so here, so numbers is 34.11, and right here it'll show the same thing, but just add some zeros at the end. This one's 2.2 or 22.2, and again, it just extends it with amount of zeros, so it just pads it out. So that's basically just the main things I learned from the video. There was a bunch more stuff like adding in math functions, using like numeric limits and all that, which I showed off before, showing how to like if you use CIN to get input and then use get line, you have to use CIN.ignore, then 256 and the /n and everything, or all that stuff. So yeah, basically just multiple things like that. The video didn't show that, but at least showed how you can use numeric limits to just like see what's the range in like an int or a long or a short int. But yeah, just a bunch of things with variables. The ones I just showed were things like with output, and this was something with like one of the integers and all that. But yeah, that was really mostly it for everything there. So beyond that, again, so far everything's going pretty well with this. Still got a lot to learn, and there's still like a lot of stuff I have to learn, like when and why to use it. But so far, again, just keeping track of what I learned so I can just make sure I remember. And so far, I'm keeping a bunch of notes and everything as well to just make sure I know like everything that was said in the video and just be able to look back and reference to. So a lot of things like that as well. But yeah, so far that was really all I just wanted to show so I could just make sure I remembered. So to myself and everybody else, see you in the next one.